Hello everyone, so today's video is going to be quite different and interesting because today I will be telling you about the oldest case that I've reported on, not just for Wicked, but also for my other podcast, Sinister. This goes back all the way to the 1930s. I've never done a case this old. I was kind of hesitant because I was like, it's such an old case, how much information will there really be? And I was surprised at the information or the amount of it that I was able to find, so I can't wait to tell you about the case of Olga Mauger. Before anybody comments, in every single article, or most of the articles that I was able to find, they said that her name was pronounced Major, like her last name was pronounced Major, because when I saw her name, I was like, is it pronounced like Mauger? Um, I wasn't sure. And a couple articles, I should say, they did clarify that it was pronounced Major. So before you say that I'm pronouncing it wrong, this is what I was told to pronounce it as. So we are talking about the case of Olga Mauger from 1934. So Olga Mauger, or with the maiden name Schultz, was born in Lead, South Dakota on March 11th, 1913. Her parents were both from Eastern Russia of German ancestry and had arrived in America on July 12th, 1905 in Baltimore, Maryland. On a fall day, September 17th, 1934, Olga and her newlywed husband Carl were on their 6th day of their elk hunting honeymoon. They stopped to rest after hiking for miles above Engel's Camp, today known as I might pronounce this wrong, Togwotee Mountain Lodge in Wyoming. I'm so sorry if I pronounced that wrong. So Carl suggested that they climb a small hill and scout for elk from there, and Olga said that she was tired and told Carl to go ahead. He thought it was strange because Olga loved the woods and was always up for a strenuous hike or climb. As he climbed, he turned back to check on Olga, and she was sitting on a rock within hearing distance of passing cars on Togwotee Pass Road. She was wearing tan breeches at the time, a blue shirt, and a gray pullover sweater with high-laced boots. In her belt was a small hatchet, and she carried a bag of sandwiches. So Carl turned back around, and Carl turned around, was doing his hike, and then he returned to the spot within a half hour. And there was a quote from him that said that it was actually more like 20 minutes when he returned, so he was not gone very long at all. Less than half an hour, probably. When he returned, Olga was gone without a trace. Some reports say an empty bag of sandwiches was all that remained. Others say that nothing, not even tracks, were left behind. And Carl searched frantically. He was shouting her name, but he never saw Olga again. So I just want to add here really quickly that Olga's sister actually said that Olga regretted her decision to marry Carl, and while she was packing for her honeymoon, she actually asked her sister to go with her because she did not want to go with Carl herself. So she begged her sister to go with her on her own honeymoon, and she seemed sad about it. Her sister speculated that Olga might have hitchhiked out of the area and started a new life in some other part of the country, but there's no evidence to support this. Carl's story about her disappearance never changed and stated that he didn't know what happened to her and that they hadn't argued. Ranger Casey Allen got the call to meet Carl on hunt camp at 1 p.m. Casey Allen rounded up a search party of more than 300 men, including civilian Conservation Corps members, game wardens, private residents, Teton County sheriffs, and just so many other people. They also had bloodhounds, and they looked everywhere, but they found nothing. So an early season snowstorm is actually what cut the search effort short, and they kind of had to give up pretty quickly. 7 years after she disappeared, Carl got a divorce from her and got married to a former girlfriend named Ella, a woman he'd been dating when he met Olga. Carl and Ella are now both deceased, and Olga has never been found to this day. So, this is from 1934, and Olga is probably no longer with us, but I'll go ahead and include the description and the phone number anyway, just in case. Maybe you've heard a story or something. Maybe your family has known something from that time. I don't know. there's always a chance. I kind of went back and forth of whether or not I wanted to include it because she is probably no longer with us, but that doesn't mean that some answers can be had for her descendants now. So the description of Olga is that she was 5'5" to 5'9", 120 to 150 pounds. She was 21 at the time and would be 111 now. She was last seen in that gray pullover sweater, a man's blue shirt, the tan riding breeches, high lace boots, a green belt tam o'shanter, had a bag of sandwiches, $30 in cash, and a hatchet. She had red hair and blue eyes. Anybody with any information is urged to contact the Fremont County Sheriff's Office at 307-856-7200. So, part of me went into this assuming that it was Carl. I always assume that, it's a spouse. To me, it just makes sense. But he never changed his story. Like, he never faltered in his story. He never changed anything. It was never different. He said what he said, and it was the same story every time. So to a point, I still kind of believe, like, maybe Carl did something. I don't know what would be the point of that. But I also, for the most part, believe what her sister said. That she regretted her decision to get married. She decided, like, after what was happened, she didn't want it anymore, but she was kind of stuck. And I kind of feel like maybe she had been thinking of ways to get out of this, and when they were on their honeymoon and he was just like, hey, you want to go on this hike? She maybe used this as an excuse to try to, like, find a way to get away. And when she realized that, like, this is her chance, she just disappeared. And maybe she did go somewhere else and start a life. Maybe something happened. Who knows? But part of me, most of me, I would say like 80% of me, it definitely believes the theory that she just decided to up and leave and start a new life for herself. There's always a possibility that there was somebody else, on that road, because they were so close. Like, they were in hearing distance. They were able to hear cars while they were on this little camp thing. So there's always a chance that there was some weirdo out there lurking that could have done something to her. But I feel like if she was in hearing distance of the cars, she was probably also in hearing distance of Carl. And maybe Carl could have heard something if there was a struggle of some sort. Who knows? But I do, for the most part, believe that she did decide to leave herself on her own accord. Because, I don't know, her sister saying that she was sad, I don't know why her sister would make that up, and I do believe that. Like I said in the video, there's no evidence of that, but to me, it's what makes sense. But let me know your guys' thoughts down below. Do you think maybe there was some weirdo out there lurking that did something to her? Do you think it was Carl? Or do you believe what the sister said, that she didn't want to be with Carl, and she just was like, you know what? This is my chance. I'm going to leave. Let me know your thoughts down below, like always. Thank you so much for listening to Olga's story. And let me know if you want to hear more old cases like this. I will see you guys very soon. Bye, guys.